You have been working, really working, not the lazy, half-effort kind, the kind where you send the follow-up email, show up early, say yes when you mean no, give more than was asked because you thought that was what it took, and somehow, inexplicably, the person who does less keeps getting more. The opportunity goes to them, the promotion, the attention, the relationship. You watched it happen and told yourself to try harder. That was the mistake. What's up, guys? What I'm about to walk you through isn't motivation. It's closer to mechanics, the hidden physics of how desire, power, and human behavior actually interact. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Here is the thing nobody says out loud: effort is not neutral. The visibility of your effort changes how people value it. When a hiring manager senses you need the job badly, they negotiate harder. When someone senses you are emotionally dependent on them, they pull back. It is not cruelty. It is instinct. Human beings are wired to devalue what seems to need them. And the world has been reading your need this entire time. Dr. Robert Cialdini, whose research on influence became foundational reading at institutions like Harvard Business School, spent decades documenting what he called the scarcity principle, the idea that perceived rarity drives perceived value. What his work quietly implied, and almost nobody applies to personal behavior, is the inverse. The more available you appear, the less valuable you seem. Not because you are less valuable, because availability signals low demand, and low demand triggers low investment from everyone around you. This is where Machiavelli becomes relevant in a way most people misread him. They think he is about manipulation. He is not. He is about leverage and who holds it. He wrote that fortune favors the bold. Most people hear that as a call to charge, to push harder, but read it in context, and it means something colder. Fortune does not favor the desperate. It favors the bold, the person who moves from a position of choice, not need. Boldness and desperation look similar on the outside. Inside, they are opposites. One broadcasts surplus. The other broadcasts scarcity. The world responds to the broadcast. Now here is where it gets uncomfortable. Most of what you have been calling strategy has actually been performance. The extra hours designed to be noticed. The generosity calculated to create obligation. The availability maintained to signal value. None of it is wrong, exactly. But when the motivation underneath is fear of being passed over, of being left, of being forgotten, the energy of that fear leaks into everything you do. People feel it before they can name it. Research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that individuals operating from a fear-based orientation toward relationships were consistently rated by observers as less trustworthy and less competent in first interactions, even when their actual behavior was identical to their calmer counterparts. The researchers described it as emotional leakage, the invisible signal beneath the visible performance. You can dress it up however you like. The frequency underneath tells the truth. So what does the correction look like? Not indifference, not coldness, not the performative nonchalance of someone pretending they do not care. That is just a different kind of performance. The real shift is internal. It is the difference between someone who chases because they believe they do not have enough, and someone who moves because they know exactly where they are going. There is a concept researchers at Stanford's psychology department have explored called self-concept clarity, the degree to which a person has a stable, internally consistent sense of who they are. People with high self-concept clarity do not need external validation to hold themselves together. They are already whole. And that wholeness broadcasts itself to everyone around them as quiet authority, not because they perform it, but because they do not need to. Machiavelli put it plainly, it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Most people read that as an instruction to be cruel, That is not what it means. What it means is that love, in his framework, requires the continued choice of another person to give it. Respect, the kind earned by someone who does not flinch and does not need, is structural. It holds. And the person who has stopped performing their hunger for approval cannot be manipulated through that hunger, because they no longer have it. Here is something that feels counterintuitive but stays with you. The most effective thing you can do when you want something badly is to stop making that want visible, not to kill it, to contain it. Suppression is pressure that builds and eventually explodes into exactly the behavior you were trying to avoid. Containment is discipline, knowing exactly what you want, holding it privately, and letting it direct your movement without broadcasting it to the room. The lion in the grass does not roar before it strikes. That stillness is not absence of desire. It is desire, organized. Think about the last person in your life who felt completely certain, not loudly, but quietly. No seeking approval, no over-explaining, no visible hunger for your reaction. What did that do to you? You probably found yourself more curious about them than you expected. Maybe you were the one who reached out first. That is not a coincidence. The human nervous system is drawn toward what it cannot easily read. Stillness creates mystery. Mystery creates gravity. And gravity makes things move toward you without you having to chase them. Patience enters here not as a soft virtue, but as a tactical instrument. Most people abandon their position one step before the environment shifts in their favor. They break the stillness. They send the text, lower the price, take the lesser offer. Because they mistook the discomfort of waiting for evidence that nothing was coming. Discomfort is not data. It is just discomfort. The late season of every real shift tends to feel like failure. Before the breakthrough, the silence gets louder. The gap between effort and visible result gets wider. The people around you seem to be moving while you stand still. That stillness feels like stagnation from the inside. From the outside, to the right eyes, it looks like someone who has already decided, and decided people attract things. Undecided people repel them. What is moving toward you right now is not impressed by your hustle. It is being drawn by your frequency, the internal signal you broadcast when you have stopped performing your hunger and started living from your direction. That shift is not dramatic. Nobody announces it. You will not feel a click. It is quieter than that. It is the morning you wake up and realize you stopped checking, stopped monitoring, and somehow, in that quiet, things started arriving. You were not built to chase. You were built to be moved toward. The difference between those two lives is not talent or timing. It is the decision to stop leaking energy toward things that have not arrived yet, and to trust the invisible work of who you are becoming. If this shifted something for you, like the video and subscribe to Vertex Vision. Turn on the notification bell, not because you will miss a video, but because the person you are becoming is going to need every tool this channel has to offer. Go be still. Go be sovereign. What you want already knows where you are.